So you're the new intern. Yeah. Oh, unpaid. So you're like not even a real person, huh? Yeah. Yeah, awesome. Yeah. No, it's great that you brought that up. I'm actually working on empathy this year as like a sort of like a New Year's resolution or sort of like a passion project. Yeah. Okay. Well, do you have work to do? Right. You're not getting paid, so you don't take initiative. Right. Okay. Well, I mean, you can just stand there for the next 10 to 90 minutes and watch me do my work. What am I working on? You'll see. Also, I hope you don't mind that I'm whispering. If you do mind, get over it. This is my current wavelength, okay? So you should probably just get on board with me. My doctor said that if my blood pressure gets any higher, because my blood pressure is at like a critical level, it's very, very high. He says if it gets any higher, trying to think of the medical term of what's gonna happen. I think clinically it's called my organs are gonna rocket out of my butthole, and yes, it would kill me. Thank you. So I gotta take it low and slow, or else I'm gonna be like a oxygen tank that doesn't have its cap on, and I'm just gonna like rocket up through the roof and just kind of in the atmosphere. Okay, so here's what I've been spending my time on. Planning my D&D campaign. Listen, before you say anything, it is a valuable use of my time, okay? Although I have many more pressing things to do, those things are bad for my blood pressure, alright? Planning D&D, prepping for D&D, that's good for my blood pressure. I'm gonna yap about my campaign for like a couple minutes, and then I'm gonna actually start to plan. I have 4 players. I have a rogue named Graham, who's like a pirate, pretty much. He's a pirate captain. I have a paladin named Arthas, like Arthur, but with an AS instead of a UR. I have a bard named Roger. I know the names are great so far. And 4th is a wizard named What Lies Ahead, which is pretty cool. He's a divination wizard, so he can like he's seen to the future and whatnot. Conflict of the campaign is that the gods of the world have descended. So every god and every pantheon, which there's only, I stripped down a lot of the D&D gods because I just didn't like them that much. But I just made 2 pantheons, and the gods from both of those pantheons, and both the pantheons are pretty small too. They have come down and taken flesh, so they are in human form. They're in avatar form, and sort of the hook line or whatever of the whole campaign is that the line between mortals and the divine has never been so thin. So, gods are coming down to personhood, and people theoretically could transition into divine beings, into gods themselves. So it's essentially, it's one huge power grab. It's one huge scramble for power. But while an easy main villain to make for this campaign would be like an evil god that has come down and taken an evil avatar form is like an evil paladin or something. Like, that's a very obvious choice. So I didn't take that choice. What I've kind of opted for is that these gods and these avatars, these gods in their avatar forms, that their conflicts with each other is, like, it's important, but it's more of like the backdrop of the world, if that makes sense. Like, it's more of like setting than it is actual plot that we're worried about. Now, if the party wants to go and smack one of these gods and like take their magic items and stuff, they can go do that. The main villain is a mortal, not immortal. He is a normal person, pretty much, except that he's a powerful wizard who is trying to take advantage of this scramble for power, this big conflict, and he is trying to ascend to godhood, which some of my players they're thinking about that. They're looking at what's possible. They're looking at the different ways to kind of climb the ladder in the world and accumulate as much power as possible. And this villain, the BBEG, if you want to say that, whose name is Thessacar, he's doing the same exact thing. Thessacar also is a fugitive from one of the main bad factions in the campaign setting. This faction is called the League of the Morning, which is it's essentially like a really secretive, like, mages guild. They're very shady. They keep themselves hidden behind a trading company, so no one's really for sure who the members are. They have access to a lot of wealth, a lot of magic items, a lot of knowledge, and their spies are everywhere. Their treasure hunters are everywhere. They're pretty powerful, economically and also magically. So Thessacar, who is the main villain, who is the most cutthroat NPC in the campaign setting, he comes from that faction. He comes from the League of the Morning, from that secretive mage faction, and he's a fugitive. He's on the run, right? So you've kind of got these three groups. You've got the party, and then you've got Thessacar and Thessacar's allies, and then you have the League of the Morning over here. So you have these three centers of power who are constantly stepping on each other's toes or in pursuit of each other to meet their ends, to satisfy their own goals. I'm also giving them the responsibility to just go explore and make friends, which I'm realizing is not a good thing to do, because which it comes with some issues, because if given the chance, my party isn't going to make friends. They're gonna try to kill people. We're working through that. I forgot you're supposed to be an intern. My bad. I guess you're just a homie at this point. Good to meet you. Also, this was supposed to be a somewhat funny video, but I actually just need to prep for D&D, and I have not made the time for it, and it's been like 2 weeks, and I don't know when we are gonna do it again, so I just gotta get it out of the way. And also, I haven't made a video in like 6 months. Actually, longer than that. It's been like, I haven't recorded one since like November, I think. So it's been 7 months. So here's how I like to organize my session. So we are on session 20, and then I like to do a recap right here. So in the previous session, Arthas Wheeloff, Roger, and the Reaper pillaged a Red Sands trade ship. The Red Sands Trading Company is what the League of the Morning is embedded in, right? So that Secretive Mages Guild is hiding behind this trading company. Does that kind of... Fuck it. I don't care if it makes sense. You're an unpaid intern. So I have session number, and then the recap here. Session materials. So I know what I need to have out whenever I'm actually starting the session. Session beats, so like a rundown of what's going on. And then things in motion. So this is things that are kind of up in the air, things that are currently in the process of happening. The party is going up into the upper city. So that's what we're worried about right now, is the gate that they have to go through. We've got this gate that they have to do like a riddle to get through it, and they have to sacrifice a piece of themselves, whether it's a feat or a desire key to their character. They have to give something up at this gate. So they walk in, they go through like a little maze, and then they talk to some divine snakes, flying snakes basically, and then the snakes will teleport them into the upper city after they've given a gift. So that's what the Sage Serpent is. I did this in the last session though, with one of the characters, so when the other PCs go through here, I'm just gonna pull from those old notes. There's also a side entrance because some of my players don't want to give anything up. They would rather just take the side entrance to go in to the upper city. So that is going to be so that side entrance is going to be a place called Lagooner's Wharf. I already know they are going to have something to say. Children. So at Lagooner's Wharf, we're going to have them talk to the peasants there. Also, Lagooner's Wharf is just it's a part of Venomac. Let's see if I can find. Oh yeah, my lore document is also. My lore document is 85 pages long. It is what it is. Just gonna go back up here. Campaign locations. Venomac. Here we go. Lagooner Wharf. So that's my entry and that's my entry in the lore document for what Lagooner Wharf is. So it's an area at the foot of the cliff, atop which the fish market sits. And there's just some other stuff about like the economics and the labor politics there that we don't need right now. I'm just gonna leave some notes for myself so I can improvise how they can get up to the upper city from here. So talk to the local peasants. So the fish market that is at the top of, and this is also Lagooner Wharf, not Lagooners. Yeah. So the fish market at the top of it is gonna have Bolden guards in it. Bolden is just one of the noble families. I'm gonna say possible stealth encounter or disguise performance, and that's enough for them to get into the upper city. Let's go back and look at another beat. The Greeting Gardens with Imara and Germain. So Imara and Germain are two characters that they had met previously in the very first area of the campaign. Germain, I think these are actually notes that I had from last session that I just copied up here. Yeah. So Imara and Germain are in the Greeting Gardens in the upper city. They're hanging out and they're just playing cards near the fountain. Let me fix this a little bit so the beats line up, because we're on beat 2. So they will greet them as champions, so that establishes sort of friendliness between them, between Roger, which is the bard of the party. I guess they should. So they probably buy into that thing about the narrative about Weloff being the chosen one, the little stupid dwarf that they keep around. Imara and Germain are sort of open to being allies to the main party as we go into this banquet encounter where the party is going to be face to face with nobility that they don't necessarily get along with. This is a little bit about Germain. Germain, during the tournament, was seemingly possessed when they stabbed. I mean, he got stabbed as he was being kind of like going crazy in the tournament, and his blood was black, and he was sort of just attacking anyone. He didn't care whose team he was on, whatever. He was just very like out of his mind. So Germain has gotten better, and no one really knows why. So he was possessed for a while, and then Imara, who's his companion, took him to go get healed in the same place that, if you remember from like several minutes ago, that place of public worship where the party killed an important person before, very, very openly, publicly, just in front of everyone. Germain was healed there, and so that's what the party knows, is that Germain was possessed, was taken to that sanctuary, and then now he is walking freely among us, seemingly not possessed anymore. He still is. Yeah, Germain is possessed by a creature that is sort of based off of mind flayers. But instead of the mind flayers coming from tadpoles, like in classic D&D, these mind flayers come from like a sort of black sludge. So that's what Arthas almost drank on Monkey Kingdom Island from the Demon Monkey. The Demon Monkey was actually a shapeshifted mind flayer. Or, I don't know, these aren't mind flayers, but they're like mind flayer 1.1s, basically. So this Demon Monkey offered him that drink. If he were to drink it, he would be possessed, like how Germain was, or still is. And then he would have this mind flayer creature inside of him, which would then burst out at some point, which is what's going to happen at the banquet. Is Germain, who is seemingly fine, is going to sort of have like an alien moment, where he's going to start spasming out, and then fall over on the table, and then he's going to release a monster. So that will be fun when it happens. enter this, you could while I was just yapping. But, so this is kind of like just most of the information that I needed for Amara and Jermaine. It's an NPC encounter, so they're just, you know, supposed to be relatively friendly to the group, and they're supposed to kind of like draw them in a little bit, make them a little more confident that they can go to this banquet without being targeted, or being like, you know, just slaughtered as soon as they walk in. So Amara and Jermaine and a few others that will go to the banquet with the main party, they're sort of like an insurance policy where, you know, the nobility can't really act up and try to kill the party members out in the open, because they would be met with, that is our beat 2. And 3 is Upper City Sandbox, which this sandbox is probably I'm just gonna get on the lore document where I keep a lot of my setting information. So I gave Liza Head, the divination wizard, I gave him some information because he was researching the different like politics and the kind of the social climate of Vinimac, of the city that they're in. He was looking at the nobility, he was looking at different families, the way their histories, the way they interact, typically who owns what, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to kind of just leave this open to him so he can kind of take the lead in this part, because he's got the information, and also Mason, the player, is very, he has a lot of initiative. He's a DM also, so he kind of understands that, like, he understands that you have to act and make choices, and you have to be decisive. Roger the Bard, Grant the player, he'll know what he needs to do. He'll think to himself, like, I should probably go talk to this person, or I should go check in on this person, or I should go ask a certain question to a certain person, or interrogate, whatever. And then he'll go back to the inn or wherever they're at, you know, stand up on the table and like rip a bass lute, like a slap lute solo or something. It's not even that he gets up to like shenanigans, really. It's just I think he just likes being a bard. I think he likes rolling performance checks and then like getting tips, and then like blowing all his tips at the bar, like. So I'm just gonna copy and paste these notes that I gave him last session about the households of Vinimac, and I'm gonna let him sort of just take charge, and I'll be navigating on the other document that I have that is all about setting and stuff. So I'll be like on this page, looking around at the different places that he might go to, and I'll probably put in some more information about like some more descriptive information. And there's going to be a pretty large combat encounter there, and Thessacar is also going to join, along with a few others. But Thessacar is going to be after this certain item that one of the nobles has. The nobles are going to be probably just scrambling because they're, you know, beefing with the party, and with these monsters and this wizard that is coming after them and coming after this object. And then the party, I have no idea what they're going to do. Yeah, I don't know. There could be some player deaths for sure. Because they tend to think with their role-playing brains. Like they in terms of combat, they think with their role-playing brain, not with their like power gamer brain, which I'm kind of grateful for, because it makes for a lot, like, it's super dramatic whenever everyone is, you know, making decisions that their characters would actually make. But it is, they come so, I mean, they almost kill themselves for the RP. They fucking live for the game. So I'm very interested to see how the banquet is going to go. It could very easily turn into like a red wedding situation where like just big characters are dropping like flies. Um, and I would be okay with that, honestly. We've done 20 sessions so far, and I really like this group that I'm playing with. So I'm ready for them to experience some pretty serious conflict. Um, so the only thing that could go wrong with the banquet is just if they attack before the main feast. So I know I need to hold off on the NPCs that they're after and that they have the most beef with. I'm gonna save them until that main feast. Like they're not gonna be able to really access them until then. That's been roughly my plan. Oh yeah, you're an intern. I forgot. That's the whole bit. Um, so that's how I spent my hard day at work. That's this. Uh, yeah. Goodbye. Little intern, you little fucking germ.